Welcome to Undercurrents of Romance, the show that celebrates every subgenre of romantic fiction. In each episode, I peel back the layers of your favorite love stories and chat with the talented authors who bring them to life. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn. Now, let's dive in with today's guest. Hello, romantics. I'm here with USA Today bestselling author Adrienne Giordano to talk about her latest romantic suspense, Crash Course. Welcome, Adrienne.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so
Your
excited.
maiden podcast.
Yeah, right. I'm so excited for you to be here too. I couldn't think of a more appropriate guest to help me launch my new podcast. So thank you for being here.
Well, I am honored.
For those of you who don't know, Adrienne and we've been friends since our pre-published days, back whenever,
Forever.
yeah, forever. I think it's probably been, what, 15, 16 years, we were,
Probably 2007, 8-ish
okay, yeah,
in
so
there
pretty
somewhere.
darn close, pretty darn
Yeah.
close. Yeah, I think we met at our RWA chapter. You were the
Yeah.
outgoing treasurer and I was the incoming treasurer. So we bonded over numbers, and we're still bonding over numbers, aren't we?
I actually think it was before that
Was
though,
it? Okay.
because well, it was definitely at the meeting though, because remember we went to, was it Dallas? Where was that first
Yeah,
RWA
that was,
conference?
you're right. That I think it was Dallas RWA, and that I want to say that was '07.
Yeah, we had just met at a meeting like prior to that, and it was my first RWA, and everybody was talking about, you have to go to the bar because that's where all the editors and agents are.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to go to the bar by myself. And I was like, oh, I met that girl Tracy at the meeting. I think she's gonna be here.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember we didn't even have, I don't know if we didn't have cell phones or what the
We
deal was. I called your room. I used the room phone to call your room.
forgot about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, and we kind of latched onto each other because we didn't know anybody
Yeah.
at that time, or I didn't know anybody at that time. That was all new to me.
Yep.
Yeah, and from
Oh my
there we went
gosh.
and launched a blog, which is now defunct, but
Yeah. Hey, it was
Romance University.
fantastic back in the day.
It was great. Had a lot of fun with that, and another one of our friends helped us out with that. And then, was it 2016? We started
Yep.
writing romantic suspense. Because I was writing historical, but you've always been writing romantic suspense. I was writing historicals with a little bit of suspense, and yeah, the Steel Ridge World. I think we started that in 2016, and we've been writing in
Yep.
that world ever since.
Ever since. Yep. It's
We've
come a
come a
long
long
way,
way, baby.
baby.
Well, it has been a wild ride for sure. So now that we're now that we're done going down memory lane,
Yeah.
why don't you get us started and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Righty. Well, you kind of gave a good introduction. I primarily I write romantic suspense. I'm a USA Today bestselling author. I write romantic suspense. But I like to dabble in other things too. So I've written some fun mysteries. I have my Lucy Rizzo series, which is just kind of a fun, quirky mystery. It's a humorous mystery, like an amateur sleuth thing. And then I have another kind of cold case series that I co-write with my pal Misty Evans. And we're actually working on a new book in that one right now.
Yay.
So super excited. That's
Yeah,
the Shock Sisters mystery series.
readers will be very
So
happy to hear.
yeah, it's always fun. It's two sisters. So that's what I was doing this morning. Before this, I was working on my pages.
Nice.
And I just launched a women's fiction over the summer. That was my first go at a women's fiction book. So
We'll
I
talk
like to
about that
play
in a
in
few
different,
minutes.
yeah,
Yes. So
yeah.
yes.
I like to play in different genres.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
And
Well,
I'm
it's
also, fun fact, a certified life coach.
yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yes.
So,
Well, I'll put links to all of this in the show notes so folks will have access to all of that. But that
Awesome. Thank you.
that's something you worked on last year, and I'm like so proud
Mm.
of you. You worked so hard on it while
Oh,
you were writing a book, and I mean, just you had so much going on last year, and you became a certified life and professional coach, which I know takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. So kudos to
yeah.
you for that.
Well, thank you. No, I'm really enjoying the coaching. I'm working with authors, and it's just so gratifying when you can
Mhm.
help someone, because this is such a hard business. It
Mhm.
really is. It sounds so glamorous, and I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing it, but it's, as much as I love it, it's very hard.
Well, you're kind of zeroing in on helping authors with time management and things like that, correct? Or am
Yeah,
I?
yeah,
Yeah.
time management, just getting the pages done,
Hmm.
just helping them to get through, not necessarily blocks, but just to move them forward with the book.
Hmm.
That's kind of been, it was a pleasant surprise for me, because I didn't
Yeah.
even realize I would kind of go that route.
Hmm.
But it's been fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
a
And
lot
for
of
the
fun.
authors out there, Adrienne, she does know what she's talking about. She's written over 40 books and she's a best-selling author. So, yes, if you can get in an appointment with her, you're going to be very, very pleased with the results, I'm sure.
Well, thank you for the plug,
Oh
Tracy.
yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here is to plug authors and to
Yeah,
celebrate romance and romance authors and all they do. I'm very happy to. But one of the things that we are going to talk about and plug today is Crash Course.
yay.
Crash Course is your latest romantic suspense. And I was wondering if you could go ahead and tell listeners a little bit about the book and how it ties into the Steel Ridge world that we alluded to a little bit earlier.
Sure. All right. So, Crash Course. Cruz Blackwell is one of the Blackwell brothers, which, how the Blackwell, it's a spin-off series from the original Steel Ridge series that featured the Steel family. So the Blackwells are sort of the black sheep cousins of the Steels. And they started out, as you well know, they were sort of this mysterious family that we didn't talk too much about in the Steel Ridge books, but they were always out there. And then when they kept coming up, coming up, coming up, and we decided, all right, we need to dig into them a little bit and see what's driving them. So Cruz is one of the Blackwell brothers. He is, I don't know, I think he's funny. He's the brother that he always says what's on his mind. He's that character for me. I love them. They're like my children. I love them all. But between him and Vic Andrews from my Private Protectors series, they are always in my head. They're always talking, like they just will not shut up. And that's Cruz.
I
He
think you have that
sometimes
with
says,
Reed Steele a bit too, don't
I
you?
had
It
that with
doesn't.
Reed still. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
The three of them, they're always in my head.
yeah.
And Cruz will say whatever on his mind. He doesn't realize sometimes he's being totally inappropriate, but he is. Which kind of like I just want to pinch his little cheek sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is his story. And the heroine is her name is Priscilla Randolph, and she is a hotshot defense attorney. And where the story kicks off is her dad is he's a he's a corporate mogul. Basically, he owns a manufacturing company that they manufacture firefighting gear, and she is on his plane. She's helping him with something. She's a defense attorney, but her dad often calls on her to help him with legal matters, which drives her a bit nuts because she has a full-time job and he has corporate counsel, but he depends on her. So she is on his plane that actually Cruz is piloting.
Multitasking cruise.
He's multitasking Cruz, and she finds a report about a piece of property her dad wants to buy, and it's sends her down a path because the property is contaminated with a forever chemical. So she kind of thinking she's helping her dad, she dives into this case a little bit.
Can you tell us, because Cruz is part of the Blackwell family and the Blackwell family is the series, can you tell us a little bit about what a recovery agent is?
Yes. So a lot of what the Blackwells do is in secret, right? This is where the whole thing about them, their secrecy throughout the series comes in, where so say someone has a $10 million painting that's been stolen. They can go to the Blackwells and the Blackwells will recover the property for them. So whether that means possibly breaking into someone's home to recover said property, they'll do it.
Allegedly.
So allegedly, yes. So they really they operate in the shadows. They don't really talk too much about what they do. The business was started by their dad, who used to oh, Tracy, the word just left me. I
Yeah,
want to
it's
say
like
impound
towing.
vehicles,
Yeah,
but yeah,
towing and yeah, that sort of thing.
towing and recovery. If people defaulted on the loan, he would go out and get the car, whatever. So, and then the brothers kind of took it to the next step and got into this artifact recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It series was a lot of fun to write.
it
We
sure
just
was.
finished it up this past summer with Endgame, and I'm already mourning the series. So it was a
Yes,
lot of fun to write those guys.
it was.
But you also had another release this year, which you talked about a little
Yes,
bit about going into women's fiction. And
yes.
The Money Shot is your most recent release. And can you tell us a little bit about why you decided? Well, first of all, tell us how women's fiction is different from romantic suspense for those who might not know, and why you decided to do this genre, and why a pen name. You see, we have a new pen name here.
Yeah. Anne Dano, which fun fact is my name shortened. It's the A, the double N, and the E from my first name, and then the Dano from my
Yeah,
last name.
love it.
Yeah, I just had women's fiction. It's really just what it sounds like. It's stories about women, their lives, what's happening in their lives. Um, and I just had an idea for a book that I could not make it a suspense, a romantic suspense. It was, Becca is the main character and she's an older woman that is kind of going through a life crisis. She's the number one talk show host on television and she is famous for saving marriages. That's kind of her. If your marriage is in trouble, go to Becca and she'll save your marriage. Well, things start to happen in her marriage that are not so great. And her career really is built on being someone who saves marriages, and she's finding that her own is in trouble. So she has to make a series of decisions that really open her eyes to certain things. And it was, yeah, it was just fun to explore someone who spent 20 some odd years in a career and then suddenly have to look back on it and go, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So fun stuff. Yeah, but
And
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, I was gonna say she had one of the things I loved about many things, but one of the things I loved about it was she had a safe haven along the Jersey
Jersey
Shore.
Shore, yep,
Yeah,
my favorite. I'm a Jersey girl
in
and I
case
grew up on the
nobody picked
beach.
up that Jersey
Yeah,
accent
in case you
there.
missed it.
Yeah.
So yes, her home is on the beach, my favorite beach in New Jersey. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it was
And
great.
that's her happy place. So
And I
that's where
could
she
feel it.
goes.
I could feel it's
Yeah,
your happy place. You know, I could feel it was her happy place, but I could
it
feel,
is.
you know, I could really all those Adrian emotions that I've heard
Yeah.
over the years about the beach and things like that really came through.
Yeah.
So that was
No,
wonderful.
it's her sanctuary, and she's, her show is taped in New York, so when she needs a break, she just heads south to her beach house.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
and
great.
the pen name, you had asked about the pen name. It was simply because it's not a romance, and there's really not I don't kill anybody in the book, right? So I didn't want my romantic suspense readers to expect a certain book
Yeah.
and then read The Money Shot and not get what they were
Right.
used to.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Although I did think she was going to kill somebody at one point whenever
Oh,
she walked up to a certain townhouse, but we won't go into that because that's
we
spoiler.
won't go into that townhouse because she came darn close to killing somebody.
She did. She did. All right. Well, thank you. Now there's a one question that I want to ask each author on this show. One of the things I want to dive into is what I'm calling the story's undercurrent, hence
Yep.
the name Undercurrents of
Hence.
Romance. Every romance novel has a great story about people falling in love, which is why I and millions of other readers love this subgenre. Um, but what I want to explore with authors on the show is what I'm terming as the second beating heart of the story. You know, that thing that flows beneath the lover's journey.
Hmm.
It can really be anything. It could be the theme, it could be a secondary conflict, a social issue, some kind of shared life experience that the characters have. Really
Hmm.
anything that helps propel the characters toward their happily ever after. And I was wondering, Adrienne, what have you been able to kind of uh, put I don't know. I'm like stumbling over my own words
Yeah, no,
here,
I know
but
what you mean, though.
you
I
know,
know what you
is
mean.
what do you think is the undercurrent that flows beneath Cruz and Scylla's love story
Yeah.
in Crash Course?
For them, and the thing as I was writing, um, because I tend to, when I plot, I like to do a loose outline of where the story is going.
Mhm.
And I do a lot of prep work on the characters, right? I interview them, because I really need to get a feeling for them before I start writing. And the thing I love about the interviews is I literally sit there and I ask them questions like they're actual people. And I just let wherever it go, nobody is ever going to see the interview. So I just let my imagination go wild. And there are always things that shock me that pop out, things that I didn't expect. And the common thread for the two of them is they both have issues with their fathers.
Mm.
Um, and they're different issues, but in a lot of ways they're the same, right? They
Mhm.
both want desperately to please their fathers. And for Cruz, he'll never be able to get closure on that because his dad has been dead for, I don't know, 10, 12 years now. So for him, he's almost haunted by it. And for Scylla, she wants to please her dad, but her dad is he's he's a very powerful man. He always gets his way. If you get in his way, he will crush you. So
Mhm.
she has a lot of mixed emotions about him in terms of she wants to make him happy, but at the same time, she feels almost smothered by him.
Mhm.
And she's trying to navigate this world where she doesn't want to upset him, but she wants to live her own life and she's afraid she's going to disappoint him.
Yeah.
So when she meets Cruz, he is someone, and again, her dad is a very powerful guy. So she's used to people befriending her to get access to her dad. So she has some trust issues. And with Cruz, because he really operates in the shadows, he could care less about her dad. He does not need her dad. And that's the thing that she really finds like so attractive about him is
Mm.
he doesn't need anything from her.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were to have answered that question, I think the dad issue
Yeah.
would have been mine as well on that. So,
Yeah.
yay.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a great place to end today's chat with Adrienne. And folks, Crash Course is available on Amazon. If you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, you can read it along with the rest of the series for free. Adrienne, what is next for you? Any fun projects? I know you mentioned that you're getting ready to jump back into the Shock Sisters
Yeah.
series. Would that be?
Yeah, and that was kind of a surprise too, because I was all set to start another romantic suspense, a new series
Yeah.
that kind of I've been fiddling with. And, Misty and I got to talking, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, and just thought, what, let's write another shock book.
Great. Well, that'll be a
So,
fun project for you guys this year.
yes.
Where's the best place for readers to connect with you online?
Probably, well, on my website, obviously, adriennegiordano.com, but I'm also on Facebook a lot. So, Adrienne Giordano author page
Okay.
on
All right.
Facebook.
Great. I will
Yes.
include all of Adrienne's links in the show notes, as I mentioned before. Adrienne, thanks again for helping me launch the podcast and chatting
Yay!
with me about your two new releases.
Well, thank you for letting me be your first guest.
Love
I'm
you,
thrilled
sister.
to do it. Love you too.
And many thanks to everyone listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Undercurrents of Romance. You can find more information about the show at tracydevlyn.com/podcast. Undercurrents of Romance is a proud member of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. I'll be back soon with another great romantic read. Enjoy the adventure, everyone. Bye.
Bye.